is 1 hour and counting. It's time for KVNU Game Day with more analysis and previews. Sponsored by Alpine Home Medical, Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, Les Olson Company, Jarek's Fine Jewelry, My Mattress, Elements Restaurant, Cache Valley Bank, Castelite, Daryl's Appliance, Advanced Fireplace and Stove, Cache Valley Ear, Nose and Throat, White Pine Funeral Home, S.E. Needham Jewelers, and LSS Insurance. Now with a countdown to tip-off, here's the legendary voice of the Aggies, Al Lewis and Jalen Moore.
You know, it feels kind of like we're starting over again for Utah State basketball. I mean, after that last time out, maybe we probably wish we would start over again, especially with conference play. Last year, the Aggies had 2 games with the Air Force Academy, and victories there were by 35 and 19 points, and not even close. But 2022 promises to be a much different season, all in its own. Again, a better class of teams all the way up, top to bottom in this league, and we saw that in that first game. Aggies lose 49-47, again, 10 days ago to the Falcons. One of the worst offensive Aggie performances we have seen in years, if not maybe ever. Coach Ryan Odom, though, after the game said,
the theme of that game was I didn't have them ready offensively, to compete against, their defense. And we can't chalk it up to we didn't shoot it well. We didn't make shots. We didn't make free throws, whatever. The bottom line is we were tentative and we were not playing Utah State basketball on the offensive end. And, we got to give, Air Force credit for that.
You'd like to maybe get right back on the saddle, so to speak, after a contest like that. But we have 2 home games that are canceled by COVID protocols, and San Jose State and Boise State's program's not here. It's not exactly what you would like as a player. Here's sophomore Max Shulga.
Unusual, like having a break this long, just in the middle of the season. It gets us out of rhythm, kind of. We try to stay connected in practice, treat days like it's game days.
Well, it's now finally a game day. So tonight they are back on the road in New Mexico for their next game. And then Wednesday night, they're going to take on a Colorado State team that has got to really be smoking after they were smoked by 30 points today by San Diego State for their first loss of the season before the Aggies would get home. So with the weird start to this Mountain West schedule all the way around, you win tonight in the pit against a 7-7 New Mexico Lobo team, and you can get back on track. Because last season, it was 2 easy victories against the Lobos by 32 and 36, but it's a different team down there, a different coach at Albuquerque, a famous name coach, and all in all, it's just a new year all around in this conference for an Aggie team that has won 2 of the last 3 titles and played for the one that they didn't get. So, hi, everybody. It's Al Lewis again, and we are pleased to be joined for the first time in 2022 by the number 10 all-time Aggie scorer, and incidentally, I want to mention number 17 all-time leading rebounder in Jalen Moore to break down tonight's 2022 initial Aggie game. And Mr. number 14, you had to, I know you were a little bit on vacation, but you had to be floored by just 47 points and 1 for 19 from 3 in the loss to Air Force by this Aggie team.
Yeah, like you and Coach Odom was saying, you definitely got to give Air Force the credit to hold our team the way that we've been. We've been up and down a little bit throughout the season offensively, but that was definitely our worst performance. And for them to only hold us to 47 points, you got to give them credit. I know, obviously, I didn't get to see a lot of the game, but I know when you shoot 1 for 19, you're probably missing some shots that you usually would make, and it could just be one of those games. We went from playing in front of crowds, you go to the academy, like we talked about. It's just different, different atmosphere. There wasn't any fans. But now I've been seeing games, recently with the COVID spike. I've been seeing games on SportsCenter and highlights of games where now there's not some fans at some places. They're not allowing some fans, or you got to be vaccinated or whatever it could be. So the season's just been crazy. A lot of weird things are happening, like you just mentioned. Colorado State losing by 30 for their first loss. Kansas lost today. All sports are just weird. There's just a bunch of different things going on. Even the NBA, like you look at the Nets, you got Kyrie playing away games but not playing at home. There's just so many different things going on with COVID right now when it comes to sports. And, that's another weird one where we went to the Air Force and only scored 47 points, and we probably didn't look the best, and now our 2 games that were supposed to be at home are scrapped, and now we're back on the road at another place that's really hard to play at in the Pit when they get the crowd going and stuff. So definitely different outcomes and different things that we're going to have to adjust to on the way.
Yeah, in fact, Air Force had 2 of their starters out, and they still beat us for COVID. And then all of a sudden, they play Colorado State the other night. They had 6 out, including their leading scorer, played Colorado State to an 8-point game at Fort Collins the other night. So we're hoping we can reschedule those 2 home games because, like I said, I think this team would have liked to have gotten right back into action after they played us poorly against Air Force. So let's hope that that is not hanging around. So, Jalen, all year long, you've heard me, I've been a little worried about our defensive side. And you know what? The defense was really good against Air Force. But I hadn't worried much about the offense because I thought this was a team that was going to score points. Are you a little worried now after they go 1 for 19 and hardly shoot 33% against Air Force in the game?
Yeah, it is a little worrisome. Kind of like we've been saying, too, all season that we got a strong conference this year. Teams like Air Force and Wyoming and Fresno and teams like that back in the day, San Jose, is kind of like, hey, we got to go on the road, let's go get a win, we'll make it back home, we'll play another game. But now it's like, hey, we for sure have a target on our back because we've been so great in the conference the last few years. Colorado State has a target on their back, San Diego State, those are the 3 well-known teams of the conference the last few years. And I think we just went in there and we, like they say, you just kind of laid an egg. Our offense just wasn't on point. Our defense was good. We held them to 49 points. When you hold a team to 49, you expect to win. And we didn't. Our offense was just shot. We just couldn't execute. We couldn't shoot the ball at the, how we usually do. 33% for the game is just a horrible field goal percentage. And like you said, I'm sure the guys wanted to get back after it, but now they had a little bit of a break. So now you're back on the road, and we got to play better, else the New Mexico team will beat us as well.
Now, we know Justin Bean, he still had a double-double in the game against Air Force. Brandon Horvath, he had a good first half, didn't play as well in the second half, but he's averaging 13.6 rebounds, 51% shooting, 46% from 3. That's all good. But in the Air Force game, here he is going to the foul line, making 50%. In a close game, you got to make those things, Coach.
Obviously Brandon wants to shoot it better. He didn't tonight. 5 for 10 is not, up to his standard or ours either. And that's disappointing, for him. I know he feels it. But I don't want him to feel pressure. I don't want any of them to feel pressure.
But Jalen, when you're a basketball player, and you've been there, when everybody's missing shots or you're missing shots and you haven't made a shot, there becomes a lot of pressure on you to make that next shot that you take, isn't there?
Yeah, there definitely is. And like we're saying, that's the thing that comes with sports. There's pressure. There's always pressure. Being the best player is pressure. Being the second best player or second best scorer on our team, like we need from Horvath, there's pressure. And like you were saying, we just weren't executing offensively. We couldn't make shots. Free throws when games are close, there's pressure. And it comes down to a lot of those little things. And close games are hard, like you said. 50%. That's not the greatest. We know he's better than that. I think he's gonna be better than that the rest of the season. It doesn't always come down to, we would have won if he went 10 for 10. It's like, yeah, we would have won, but it always doesn't come down to that as well. But yeah, pressure, like we said, when you won the conference the last 2 out of the 3 years and played in the championship game, one of those years, there's pressure. There's pressure for you to go into Air Force and beat them. And there's no pressure really for Air Force. If they lose the game, nobody bats an eye about it. It's whatever. If they win the game, it's huge, So they probably went out, they played pressure free, and like we said again tonight, you go and play a New Mexico team, there's not really that much pressure on them. They're not expected to win. We are expected to win, and our guys are going to have to perform under that pressure.
They would get about 9,000 fans a game, so it's not exactly the Pit as it has been. But I really feel like, Jalen, let's watch early in this game, because I think the Aggies had better score some baskets early in this game and make some of their shots, or else it could really, really become hard on them. Now, you yourself, you got one of the 3 Aggie victories ever. This is the 9th time the Aggies have played the Lobos in the Pit. What do you remember about that win that you guys got that night against New Mexico?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Like I said, I always used to love playing on the road. I love playing in great atmospheres, and the Pit is, like you said, it's not like it used to be. And I'm sure all this stuff going on has something to do with that, and them rebuilding and everything. But it's just great. It's a great basketball atmosphere. I remember that night it was pretty much sold out. and our team just played really great. I had a good game. The rest of the team played really well. And you got, like you said, you have to come out and you have to put it on them right from the get-go, because if you don't, they feel from the crowd and they feel from, players going off. And I think our defense was on point. Our offense was on point. And like we always say, a lot of games, our rebounding was on point that game too. So, which is funny because I go and looking at the game for tonight, that's exactly the three things that we're going to have to do. I know that's what you need to do big time, but you look at the stats and their rebounding is about the same as us. Their offense is a little bit worse than ours, but you look at they let you score 78 points a game if you do what you're supposed to do, and so we definitely have to execute offensively, and like you said, it's going to have to be early.
And so Sam and his crew, of course, it was Abel Porter who made the three-pointer for one of those other wins at the Pit, and then Rod Tuler's team back in the Lobo Classic in 1979. So, and it's really a whole New Mexico team. But Jalen, you're enough of a basketball guy that you recognize a couple of the names on that team, Mashburn and Pitino. How about that?
Yeah, it's awesome. I think, like I said, I think the coaching, the players, we just have good, solid coaching in the league. We have a good player on each team that's, like you said, obviously, if you're a basketball fan, Jamal Mashburn was a great NBA player. His son's there. He's their best player, leading scorer. Definitely going to have to do a job on him. He's going to be one of those guys that if you let him get going early or let him get that confidence going, he can score 20, 25, 30 points. He can put a number on you, So that's going to be interesting to see who we place on him defensively at the beginning of the game. And Pitino, his dad's a legendary coach. He's back into coaching at Iona, and now he's coaching his own team in the Lobos. And like we said, they're kind of in that rebuild stage, but I think they're doing it correctly and getting the correct pieces to rebuild this team, because they used to be almost one of those dominant forces in the Mountain West that you had to almost go through to win the tournament or to win the conference championship like in the season. So I think they're on the right path back to rebuilding.
I think you're right. Again, Richard Pitino, 10th year overall. He went to Florida International 1 year as a head coach, and then 8 years at Minnesota. He was with his dad for a while, went to a Final Four. He was with Billy Donovan for a while, so that's where Richard Pitino, who's now the coach at New Mexico, built his resume. He and his dad are the only duo, like father-son, that are still coaching, I guess, out there in Division I basketball. Okay, Jalen, coming up, we will get your keys to the game. We've got Coach Ryan Odom, of course, with a whole lot more on our KVNU Game Day. Sophomore Max Scholga, got an interview with him, and we've got more with Justin Bean.
I think what's great is that those guys that you've mentioned that have gone on before and have excelled in an Aggie uniform have always been hard workers, and hopefully, I can continue to fit in that mold and make them proud.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him going up the charts in the Aggie basketball annals. James Stevens and Mark Thurston and the others at White Pine Funeral Services have years of experience caring for families in all walks of life. You can expect compassionate care, high integrity, excellent service, and beautiful facilities, providing families with memorable experiences at a tough time. White Pine Funeral Services brings you Game Day tonight. We're back. It seems like it's been a long time on KVNU.
This is Dave Simmons for Les Olson Company. Every great team knows that you have to train to stay on top of your game. Even top players continue to practice the fundamentals. That's why Les Olson Company offers free IT security awareness training so your business can stop threats before they become a problem. Learn what to do in case of a suspected phishing attack. Don't take risks. Take action with the Les Olson Security Suite. Get your free network assessment at lesolson.com.
What's more important than sleep? Granted, some things are, but not many. This is Ryan at My Mattress, and here we offer the best solution to better sleep, a better mattress. IntelliBed, the gel mattress, cradles your hips and shoulders while providing the best back support possible. Or come in and choose a Tempur-Pedic that boasts 93% of their owners love their bed. My Mattress, offering the best sleep possible by the South Walmart.
It's that first kiss, that moment in time.
It's that look in her eye when you get the first sign.
We make it personal, you know when it's real.
Something for everyone, we know how you feel. Jared's fine jewelry, make it special, make it Jared's.
cold weather is here. Let the gold medal winner in the Best of Northern Utah's fireplace category help you update your home with Napoleon's full line of gas or wood-burning products. Building a new home? Let the professionals at Advanced Fireplace and Stove design and install your fireplace. From traditional to modern, Napoleon has something for every design and every budget. Install a product that will allow your family to make memories for years to come. Stop by at their showroom or visit them at advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
The clock is ticking, and Aggie basketball is getting closer. It's KVNU Game Day.
Kind of feels similar to the first game of the year in non-conference play, and obviously we had a good stretch after that, so we're going to have to do the same thing here and build some momentum.
That was Justin B. right after the loss to Air Force when he said, of course, it feels like maybe how they lost to UC Davis to open the season, and then Aggies kind of righted the ship, and they're hoping to do that as similarly as well. But he also, remember, told us last week before the Air Force game that he knew this year in the conference was not going to be 30-point wins when you play Air Force, New Mexico, or any teams like that.
And so it's a very competitive league, and it has been, for the last few years, especially the top 5 or 6 teams I felt like have always been really competitive, but now it opens up a whole new window with all these teams that have exceeded their expectations coming into this conference play.
I guess the only thing, Jalen Moore, is about this conference, if we can play all the games, we'll end up maybe having a competitive league. We were supposed to have 16 Mountain West games done before the Aggies and the Lobos play tonight. We have played 5 so far before today's game against Colorado State, San Diego State. Now we played 6 of the 16 so far. How about that?
Yeah, it is pretty crazy, and it's and as the season goes on, and if you can play those 2 games a week like you're supposed to, now you're kind of in that situation that's weird for a lot of teams that had games postponed or whatever, because now you got to try to squeeze games in either before the tournament. You might have some teams playing 3 games a week and trying to squeeze a game in on a Monday or something, but I'm hoping, like you said, that we can get the games in and play a full schedule and go into the tournament with everybody playing most of the games. But just with the way that things are going and the way that games are getting canceled or postponed and some teams are even forfeiting, you know what I mean? So it could be surprising if we get every game in like we're supposed to, and right now it doesn't necessarily look that way. Playing only 6 out of 16 so far out of your whole conference isn't a good start, so hopefully as time goes on it gets a little bit better, and we'll just have to wait and see.
How about Colorado State? They waited almost 3 weeks before they played, and then they beat Air Force. But today this team, Colorado State, Jalen, was top 20 in the country in shooting, 3-point shooting, free throw shooting. They were a great offensive team, and they were dismantled in the second half by San Diego State today.
Yeah, and it's crazy because anything can happen, and for them, they had a good gig. They had a long time off. They had a lot of COVID cases, and then when they came back, they were able to play a team as Air Force, but then they played a weakened Air Force, like you said, who was missing 6 of their players and only beat them by 8. And I think the long layoff definitely hurt them. The way that their momentum and the teams that they were beating before they had all those COVID cases, they were playing at a high level, and then they turn around and play a team like San Diego State who, if you don't almost play a perfect game, they're going to take advantage of that and destroy you. And I think that's just what they did to Colorado State. San Diego State's looking good too. They're 10-3, and it's crazy because the way that Colorado State's been playing all season, not a lot of people have been talking about San Diego State, and they're still going to be that team that's that top tier team at the top of the conference that you're going to have to beat. So, looking at us, Colorado State, San Diego State, Wyoming's surprisingly really good this year. There's a lot of different teams that I think are catching a lot of people by surprise.
Aztecs are 2-0 now after that win in conference play, so they're at the top. Boise State, they were supposed to play last night, Colorado State and Boise State, but that got postponed. So CBS got involved and moved this game from March 1st to today. And I'm sure Colorado State is wishing, gosh, I wish we would have moved that game after they went down there and lost like they did today. And so you got Nevada and Boise State are the only teams that are 1-0 in the conference besides the Aztecs that are undefeated at this point. Aggies are one of the teams that have lost a game. Wyoming and Fresno not playing tonight. UNLV and Air Force not playing tonight. Falcons played without, like we said, their best scorer and lost Colorado State earlier this week. They beat Utah State with 2 of their starters out. The unbeatens now in college basketball are Baylor and Colorado State. Incidentally, Jalen, it's been 45 years since we've had an undefeated college basketball champion. The odds are it won't happen again this year with Baylor and USC now sitting out there as Colorado State lost today.
Yeah, and, Baylor's looked really good. USC's looked good. But like you said, it's just hard, it's hard for them to keep their teams fully healthy with all this stuff that's going around. I would be surprised. The tournament and the conference that Baylor's into, I will be surprised if they don't lose a game. Because Kansas just lost to Texas Tech tonight. Anything can happen. They still have to play. I think Texas lost today too, and they were ranked 14. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of people are just losing. Like Baylor for sure. Since I've seen them play, look like they're the number one team in the country. Duke and those guys like that, Gonzaga, they all still look really good. Played a really hard non-conference schedule. But, I honestly will be really surprised if Baylor makes it through the whole season, as well as USC without losing a game. I just think the Pac-12 and Big 12, they throw so many things at you every night, and it's kind of like our conference. You don't really ever get a break. You got a lot of good teams in those conferences, but I do like the way that those two teams look. They look really good. I still think Colorado State looks really good too. They just happen to get caught against a team like San Diego State on a night where they probably shot and didn't play as well, kind of like we did against Air Force, and anything can happen in college sports and professional sports any night out. So
what you've got in this game is you got now at this point when you're playing conference schedule, home courts, even if you get a few fans in there, that makes a difference. You only have 5 players on the floor at one time. One guy can all of a sudden dominate or get going. Hot nights, you get cold nights. Colorado State outscored 43-17 second half today. So any team and any set of players might be able to knock off somebody. I thought it was interesting. Here's what Coach Odom said after the Air Force game.
They have to play this game with a love and a passion and a freedom and not a tentativeness.
And so the Aggies went in, I think, thinking, okay, we're at Air Force. Let's kind of walk our way through this first start of the conference play. And so he wants the guys to loosen up. And I think, again, when you miss shots and teams hang around and you're not in a comfortable spot with the crowd cheering you on, that tentativeness really does come into, again, maybe worry about your confidence and your worry about what you are as a basketball player. This team really has, I think, a key game tonight against New Mexico. Don't you feel like?
It really is key. And in the fact that if we don't win, you go 0-2, and the thing is, like we said, New Mexico is, they're a capable team. Every team is capable. We don't know if they're going to be missing players. We don't know if we should all be healthy, but like we said, anything can happen. It's been a crazy season. But whoever is going to play the minutes that you're given, they have to make the most of them. And we got to do the things that we do well as a team. And we got to get back to what we did to beat teams like Oklahoma. That means we got to score points. We got to execute offensively. We got to rebound. We got to defend, and it's hard. And it sounds like really simple, like, oh, that's what you should do every night out. But, it's hard. It's hard to do those things consistently well every night out. And that's what happens when you lose those games. And you look at teams that haven't lost, they do those things consistently every night out. And so I think this is going to be another good test for us. They're going to have a little bit more size, a little bit more athleticism than Air Force. But I think our team personally, I think we're going to look better offensively. I think we're going to be ready to go. Like I said, I know we would have loved to get one of those games at home, but the second best thing you can get is a rowdy pit crowd that wants you guys to lose, and the best thing is to go in there and not lose and show them that you guys, maybe losing to Air Force, we didn't play well. It was kind of a fluke. Air Force played well and we didn't, and so our guys going to bounce back from that, and I'm excited to see what they do.
Because against Air Force, again, if you're hanging close with them, they're going to play their pace. They're going to slow it down, take a lot of the shot clock, wear you out, not give you a lot of opportunities. New Mexico, Jalen, is the 12th fastest team in the nation playing as far as their possessions per game. They have 4 guys who make 3, 5 who shoot them. One guy's kind of struggling shooting them. We've already mentioned Mashburn. The other one, of course, is Jalen House, who is Eddie House's son, who played in the NBA. They try to outscore you. You've already mentioned that. They are number 2 in the nation at making free throws, number 4 in shooting free throws. So it's going to be key tonight to watch the Aggies trying to keep them off the foul line. They block shots, but they're not a great defensive team. And, of course, we've talked about these coaching names. So what do you see tonight as the keys to this game against the New Mexico Lobos? And we'll bring the keys to you, brought to you by Chem Drive Northern Utah. They can remove 99% of pet odors from carpets. They have that along with carpet cleaning, upholstery cleaning, specialty stain removal, leather cleaning, restoration. It is Chem Drive, Northern Utah, 752-6100. What do you see tonight as keys to win? You've already talked about it. Basically, we need to get back to the real basics tonight.
Yeah, I really do think that's the biggest thing. But, the biggest key for me is we have to win the rebounding battle. It's just so important in a game like this. We literally average about the same amount of rebounds per game, us and New Mexico, and if they out-rebound us, I think we're going to lose. That's just the biggest key to me this game. We got to get back to our rebounding ways, and the crazy thing, it's hard to say because, you look at it and you're like, well, Bean's got double-doubles, and it's like Bean is going to do his thing. It comes down to other guys wanting to box their guy out and rebound, and Horvath getting back in there on the O boards, and guards getting in there, and Ryland maybe getting 5-6 rebounds, Brock getting 4. Guys from the bench, when they come in, we got to put bodies on people. They're gonna be athletic. They're gonna crash the O boards. That's just what they do. And we have to win the rebounding battle. It's so important in this game. And number 2, like we talked about, we have to keep Mashburn Jr. in check. I'm not sure who's going to start on him this game. But he's averaging 18.3 on the season. That means, that he's capable. He's definitely had some 20-plus point games, and that he can do it at all 3 levels, and he's going to be capable scorer. And we just talked about, House. If you know anything about his dad, he was one of those microwave-type guys that boom, 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 now you look up and he's got 12 points off of 4 threes, So he's going to be a guy, his dad was a great shooter. I know he can shoot. So he's going to be another guy that we definitely have to keep our eye on, too, and make them have to earn their points the hard way. And number 3, we just have to execute. Like we talked about, we only scored 47 points against Air Force. That means we didn't execute very well, New Mexico gives up 78 points per game. So if we do what we're supposed to do, and you look at the numbers, they're going to let us score. As long as we execute and we take advantage of what they let us do, and we shoot the ball better, and we keep them off the free throw line, and we get to the free throw line, I think that's going to be huge for us. But I think rebounding really is the biggest key of this game and will determine all those other things. So I think if we do that tonight, though, we have our best chance of winning.
Because there'll be more shots in a game like this than there would be against Air Force, is what you were figuring, too, as far as that. So,
yep.
Yeah, House has had 2 30-point games. Mashbur's had 4 over 25. So those guys can really light it up. So, Jalen, watch the game at CBS Sports Network at 6 o'clock for the game tonight. And immediately when the game's over, we'll get back with you, and we'll have you check those keys to the game, okay?
Yep, sounds good.
All righty, and we're going to get more from Justin Bean coming up. Later we got the coach, Max Shulga. We're going to get that in. I thought it would be interesting to have Max Shulga give you an idea about what he thinks about playing with Justin Bean so far. It's interesting for me to always talk to the guys that you've seen now 2 years of Justin Bean. What do you think of this guy as a basketball player? I mean, he's most efficient, one of the most efficient basketball players that's ever played the game as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, definitely. Justin Bean is an incredible basketball player and a person outside of the lines, outside of the basketball court. But as a basketball player, he is insane. I never seen anything like that. The way he just grabs those boards, just chases the offensive boards. It's crazy. I never seen anything like that in my life.
And again,
it has to be all instincts, because I don't think how you can train that, honestly.
We'll get Max Shulga on some other things here for this team at this particular point. When Utah gets engaged, they go to S.E. Needham Jewelers, the state's oldest jewelry store. And again, they have many great diamonds. But right now also, think about watches, repairs. If you've got didn't get what you want for Christmas, make sure you get into S.E. Needham Jewelers, one of our game sponsors of the Aggies. Again, on KVNU. Incidentally, Washington State leads Utah 57-44 down at Salt Lake with about 10 minutes to play. And if you missed it, San Diego State 79, Colorado State 49 today in college basketball.
This is James Stevens with White Pine Funeral Services. We often hear people say, I wish I could use White Pine, but I've already paid for arrangements elsewhere. Know that if you've already pre-planned with a different funeral home, you can still call White Pine. If you are being told you'll lose up to 25% of your money, White Pine will provide a discount equal to any fee for switching. If you have any questions, please stop by for a visit or give us a call. We would love to meet you and explain in more detail.
White Pine Funeral Services, here when you need us most.
The new year isn't the only thing we're celebrating here at Alpine Home Medical. This year marks our 25th anniversary, and we couldn't be happier to serve you. Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent. If you haven't shopped with us, we'd love for you to make us your one-stop shop for any of your home medical needs. They're always changing, so please don't hesitate to stop by any of our 10 locations throughout Utah and southern Idaho.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Or online at alpinehomemedical.com.
Cache Valley Bank's newest branch is now open in Preston. I'm Lance Zollinger, and I'm excited to announce Cache Valley Bank is now open inside Stokes Marketplace. If you're an existing customer, you'll love the convenience. If you're not a customer, we'd love to have you open a new account with us, or even talk with us about a loan for your farm or business. Cache Valley Bank, a community bank where decisions are still made locally, now open in Preston. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
This is Jay with Daryl's Appliance. Let's start the new year right with a huge winter clearance at Daryl's. You know us for our scratch and dent appliances. Now save an extra 10% through January 8th. We also have selected appliances marked down to move. Plus, get 18 months financing on your purchase. And you'll get Daryl's exclusive 2-year additional warranty and our famous Daryl's difference, because service always comes first. Daryl's West on Airport Road, open until 6 p.m. on weekdays, 5 on Saturday.
KVNU Game Day returns.
I think today was just one of those days. You know, we couldn't quite put it in the hole, and sometimes it's hard to explain why that happens. But again, I have all the confidence in this team and in our ability to shoot and to score, and so that's not going to change for any of our guys.
And again, Justin Bean, obviously after they lost to Air Force, again his numbers going into tonight. If he gets a double-double tonight, he ties Eric Franson and Wayne Estes for number 3 on the all-time Aggie charts. And I think he's number 3 in the NCAA in double-doubles so far this year. 6 boards to pass Brian Jackson and move number 7. He's number 10 in the NCAA there. He needs 4 points to go past Demeas Cada and Bert Cook into the number 28 spot for the Aggies. He's number 24 in the NCAA in scoring. Leaves the Mountain West Conference in all kinds of categories as well. Plus, he's the number 6 shooter in America. It's unbelievable being a major playing part of this Utah State basketball program. 83 wins, 29 defeats while he's been playing. LSU, Florida, San Diego State victories we didn't used to get. He's been such a positive force. And now Justin Bean, again, is on our Aggie Game Day with this game against New Mexico tonight. CBS Sports Network at 6 o'clock, and I got with him on a couple of other things. Let me ask you a couple other things. The Spencer Nelson and you connection's been talked about. You pass him on some of these all-time charts. I do my pregame and postgame with Jalen Moore. You passed him. His dad, Jimmy's been on the list. What does that mean to you when guys that you've heard about or you've been around or you've associated with and you're passing them on the all-time Aggie charts?
Oh, my gosh. Well, to be honest, obviously I don't follow that stuff as much. You know, I don't try and get into it and just try and take one game at a time. But whenever someone does tell me something like you just shared, then it definitely makes me take a step back and just realize just how blessed I've been with some great mentors and coaches and teammates that have helped me get to this point. And the cool thing about it is I feel like I still have a lot left to give, you know, to this team and to myself, just knowing that there are ways that I can continue to improve. And so I think what's great is that those guys that you've mentioned that have gone on before and have excelled in an Aggie uniform have always been hard workers, and hopefully, you know, I can continue to fit in that mold and make them proud. So
you were on a team that was Sam's team. You were on a team with Nemi's team. How does it feel to have the mantle of it's Justin Bean's team?
It's a blessing, and it's also, you know, intimidating at times. But I definitely have taken that on, you know, head first, and the coaches have given me that confidence to be able to lead this team and to just make sure that we're all on the same page. And so that's been really rewarding to see all of us come together at different points in the season. But also it's helped me to kind of self-check and evaluate and see how I can improve and be that guy on and off the court that this team can look up to. So.
Why do you think? I mean, we've had a lot of great players here. Why do you think the fans have been attracted so much to you? What is it? You've got so much personality that just exudes all the time.
That's a good question, honestly. I don't know what I did to deserve all their love and appreciation, but maybe it's the name. It's kind of catchy. I don't know. 4 letters. It's pretty simple. Just Bean. Not very it's popular, I guess, in this part of town. So I would say just, when you see a walk-on enter the court for the first time, you always want to be a cheerleader for him. And so I think that's kind of where it stemmed from, is just not very high expectations, quite frankly, amongst the popular group out here. But I feel like they've just embraced me, and I've embraced them, and it's been just a great bond. And the Aggie Nation will always, hold a special place in my heart for sure.
I remember the first practice I ever watched you play on the scout squad, and I said, that guy can rebound. So I've always known that's a big part of your game. But you have to be proud of being in the top 10 in the nation now in shooting the basketball and in the top 20 or whatever in scoring the basketball.
You bet. It's definitely something that rebounding's been a part of my game for my whole life, and scoring as well, but not to this level for sure. And being able to do it on this stage, with this team and this season, it's been very, very humbling. And a lot of people have kind of liked to compare me to Dennis Rodman over the years, and while that was very endearing and I was humbled by that, I also kind of use that as a chip on my shoulder to continue to improve in other ways that I know I'm better at than Dennis, at the free throw line and at the 3-point line and things like that. But so things like that have definitely helped me to keep going and just not get satisfied.
You really did make the emphasis this past year to be more of a shooter scorer, right?
Absolutely. That was the number one focus for me, and I knew it was the one part of my game that if I wanted to continue playing at a higher level, that it needed to be better. So, and for this team as well to improve and help space the floor more, I felt like it was a necessity in my game and something that's fit in quite nicely. And so it's been great to see that kind of transition and that confidence keep rising.
It's been great to watch what you do. No, like I said, we don't cheer for anybody more because we do appreciate what you do, Justin. You've been a big part of this program. You've helped it go to places these last couple of years we've never been before. Now we want to go again. We want to keep going all the time. That puts, again, a lot of pressure on you guys when league play starts to where you've been before and what you got to do again.
It does, and it's something that we've embraced, and we hold ourselves to that same standard. And so it's definitely not one-sided. I mean, Aggie Nation expects a lot, and we expect a lot of ourselves. So it goes hand in hand. I think that's why USU basketball has been such an elite team for years and years, is because of that standard and that work ethic and that blue-collar type feel that we have. And so that is something that we take a lot of pride in, and our expectations will not lower any, no matter what happens.
Well, I know you'll go get everybody we play. Go get them, okay?
All right. Thanks, Al. Appreciate it.
Like we said, he leads the conference in all those categories. He leads in heart and hustle, too. There's no doubt about that. All right. What about the team? Again, we're hearing all these problems of 1 or 2 players out, different things like that. Well, Coach Odom told me yesterday.
Yeah, we are so far. So we're in a good situation right now from a player perspective. We do have staff member that has it right now. So we have a couple of guys that won't travel with us, on the trip. But I think it's kind of part of it. At this point, we're in as good a spot as we can be.
Staff member, but staff members, he said, but not players. So we should have a full team tonight. Get to our S.E. Needham shooter starting lineup. So we expect Bean, Brock Miller, Rylan Jones, R.J. Idlerock, and Brandon Horvath. That's been the winning combination that he started. Of course, had the one game where he had to change that. And, I mentioned to Stephen Ashworth lately, you're like a starter, Stephen, right?
It's a great question. I mean, I feel like I'm just a part of the group, honestly. And, the coach have always been super great about letting me know how big my role is, whether I'm the first off the bench or, whether it's just by my voice or things like that. And so I definitely feel like, this group of guys, we're not really worried about, who the first 5 out there are, or, because things are going to come out throughout the season. And so I think in all that said and done is, we're all a big group team, so it's fun.
So, Stephen Ashworth, part of the SC Needham Jewelers starting lineup. I think the Aggies have 6 guys, and we may see Bairstow and Shulga more as well. And for New Mexico, probably, again, Mashburn Jr. and House, the 2 guards, Javante Johnson and Sebastian Singleton, who played for him last year. Not a lot of major roles last year, but they played. And then Sebastian Forsling's a new freshman. They play about 8 or 9 guys for this team. Again, coached by Richard Pitino. And, of course, we have Ryan Odom. Their dads, of course, very famous coaches.
I'm sure Richard and I will be fine within the guts of the game, but the 2 dads will be a nervous wreck. That's usually how it works.
We'll come back and get the coaches segment next on Game Day on KVNU.
Ascent Aesthetics is a premier aesthetic practice. Doctors Benyon, Blotter, and Robinette of Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat are proud to offer you a professional aesthetics team. The Ascent team is passionate about education, best techniques, products, procedures, and services. If you're looking for help with Botox, fillers, microneedling, laser hair removal, medical-grade facials, or skincare, Ascent will help you feel confident, beautiful, and refreshed. See which Ascent service is right for you and learn more at AscentAesthetics.com. That's AscentAesthetics.com.
Hi, this is Gene Needham of SC Needham Jewelers. I would like to welcome all USU students back to Logan. We are Utah's oldest jewelry store. My sons, Sylvan and JD, now represent our 5th generation of jewelers. We use the newest technology in custom-made rings. Perhaps this is the year you'll get engaged. Visit our website at scneedham.com or simply come to the store in historic downtown Logan, where Utah gets engaged. SC Needham Jewelers, middle of the block at the sign of the clock.
Winter is upon us, which is the best reason to have a clean and healthy home. This is Darryl with ChemDry of Northern Utah. Let us come and make your carpets, rugs, and upholstery and hardwood as clean as it can be. Platinum certified with the Carpet and Rug Institute and Indoor Air Quality Association. ChemDry's hot carbonation and quick dry times will leave your homes healthy and ready to combat the cold and flu season. We're a company that you can trust. Call ChemDry of Northern Utah.
ChemDry of Northern Utah. ChemDry of Northern Utah. 435-752-6100.
Advanced Heating and AC, the gold medal winner in the Best of Northern Utah, is teaming up with Carrier Heating and Cooling. Carrier provides you with the best furnace units available. And now is the best time to buy a new unit before the weather turns Cache Valley cold. Financing options are available. Turn to the experts at Advanced Heating and AC and Carrier. Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning at 752-7272. Stop by their showroom west of DI. Online, advancedheating-ac.com. Aggies at New Mexico tonight. It starts at 6 on the CBS Sports Network. One of only 2 games in the conference today, although San Jose has scheduled a game of Bethesda, trying to get back to their ways. Of course, they couldn't come here last Saturday, and then we couldn't have Boise State here on Tuesday night. 2 other games are off in the conference. They were hoping to pick things up this week at this particular point. Our coaches segment tonight brought to you by My Mattress. Again, IntelliBed Tempur-Pedic mattresses only sold at My Mattress. Isn't it time that you sleep exceptionally? The Aggies into New Mexico tonight for Coach Ryan Odom's team.
Yeah, we're excited about the opportunity to get back on the court, in Mountain West play, playing a really well coached New Mexico team, 2 really dynamic guards. House and Mashburn obviously come from great stock. Both of their fathers were amazing players in college and the NBA as well. And, they really attack you. Both guys are averaging, over 15 a game and really put pressure on your defense. We're going to have to get a lot of help to them without giving too much help to where the other guys are just too open or have lanes to the basket to rebound and things like that. They play a really aggressive defense in the half court, sometimes extended up in the full court. And, it'll be another good challenge for us on the road. And I know our guys are excited to get back out there.
Jamal Mashburn Jr. followed Richard Pitino from Minnesota to New Mexico with him. His dad, of course, was, again, Jamal Mashburn, who averaged 19.1 in his years with Dallas and Miami and Charlotte, New Orleans out of Kentucky in the NBA. And then this Jalen House, Eddie House was his dad, 11 years. He played 10 teams in 11 years. Probably his best year was with Phoenix, but he could score it. And he's a guard. So here's the coach says, Mashburn's more of a guy who likes to pull up and shoot the shot. He'll drive at you, pull up, and he's got a great mid-range game. on the other side, and he gets fouled a lot. And then House is a guy who'll drive it and get fouled, and he can shoot threes. So the Aggies have got to be on top of that as they go into the pit. You could tell earlier this year when Ryan Odom got a chance to go to even the Marriott Center in Provo. He'd heard about some of these big arenas in college basketball. What about going in there tonight, Coach?
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Yeah, I know obviously these other guys have been there, the returning players, and some of the coaches have been there before. It's my first time, heading there. Obviously some historic games, have happened there, even outside of, New Mexico, and they're great games that they've played there over the years. So we know it's a tremendous home court advantage and one that we're excited to be able to play in front of.
What was it, 83, the championship game between Houston and North Carolina State in that building? It'll be remembered for that great upset win by Jim Valvano's team. Meantime, this Aggie team of Coach Odom, again, they'd played so many games and so hectic, and all of a sudden now you get shut down for a while. So what has this time off without games done to the team? Here's the coach's perspective on that.
Yeah, I think it's been obviously it's been good for us. We've been talking a lot about not having a ton of practice time. Maybe not necessarily the way that you would hope that you would get it with 2 home games canceled, but for us specifically, we were able to work on ourselves, for the better part of a week, and that's a good thing. And also, it gave Bean a chance to kind of rest, at the same time, because he's kind of we've had game after game after game, and he's been hobbled in those games and not himself, from a health standpoint, and it's given him a chance to kind of rest that ankle a little bit. Obviously Brock as well.
Brock with the bad back. I noticed the last practice yesterday before they left town didn't look like Brock had practiced, but he had practiced before. Nobody out with COVID. Again, this Aggie team, we're hoping about as healthy as it's been in the last little while and as much in a unit as possible. New Mexico, last year, 2 blowout games. I mentioned Johnson Singleton played against him last year. You hardly remember that because of what kind of year they've had. So all of a sudden, new coach in a game name like Pitino coming in, bringing a lot of transfers in, Arizona State and Minnesota on the 2 guys, House and Mashburn, but there's others into this program. So it's basically a new team. And they seem to be playing what, Coach? About 7, 8, 9 guys?
A solid 8 or 9. They have a shooter coming off the bench, number 0, and then obviously Saquon, that kid, he can really handle. I mean, he handles like a point guard. He's not the shooter that the other 2 guys are, but that doesn't mean he can't make shots. He banged a 3 in the Nevada game and is a really dynamic player as well, very athletic. Up front, they've got some younger players, in the front court that play really hard, and then they have a couple of 4s that, can really impact the game, as well, that are really good athletes. And so, overall, they've got an athletic, core group of guys.
Much different than what the Aggies saw against Air Force in that first conference game that they lost. Speaking of conference games, you realize it has been, 680 days ago that New Mexico last played a conference game in the pit. And that was on February 29th of 2020, and they beat the Aggies by 2 in that game. We had Bean and Miller and Bairstow that played. They only had a Jordan Arroyo, who hardly plays at all for them, on their roster still. From that last time the last time New Mexico played a home game in conference, and now they're playing the Aggies here tonight coming up at the top of the hour. Now, let's get into this. Again, when you think about this, Dave Odom was 22 years a head coach. Rick Pitino's now 69, is still coaching at Ione. He's been in the NBA, he's been at Kentucky, been at Louisville, been at Providence. He's been a lot of different places. Those 2 names, of course, stand out in college basketball down through the years. Ryan's dad, Dave Odom, won 406 games at Wake Forest, East Carolina, and South Carolina. Rick Pitino is up over 660 in coaching wins. So more on this situation of these families meeting in this game tonight. And remember, we got another situation where we end up facing, again, Lon Kruger's son when we play UNLV later this year. Another coaching son coaching in this Mountain West Conference, Coach.
I'm sure Richard and I will be fine within the guts of the game, but the 2 dads will be a nervous wreck. That's usually how it works, but yeah, we have a ton of respect for their family, and we've known their family for a long time. Our fathers are good friends, and they spent a lot of time together in the summers working camps at 5-star basketball camp, and they both kind of got their start there. and so we're always pulling for one another when we're not playing one another.
So that is the coaches segment here on KVNU again as we get ready for the game at the top of the hour, 6 o'clock on the CBS Sports Network. Incidentally, NFL, Kansas City did beat Denver today 28-24. So if Tennessee loses, Kansas City gets the number 1 seed. And the Utah and Washington State game, let's see where that is now. If I can get an update, if my computer will refresh here. It's kind of paused right now. So looks like it's not going to give me a pause. So I'll try to update that game for you. And in our next segment, we've got some few words again, and they're interesting to listen to from Max Scholga.
Because I used to do that when I was younger, like miss my first shots and start think, oh my God, I'm gonna miss the next one. But coach always talks about having short-term memory, just going to the next play. So that's what I try to do.
And again, Max is a guy who, if you give him playing time, he'll score like he did against Portland State in that game. Make it special, make it Jerrick's. Jerrick's Fine Jewelry, one of our great Aggie sponsors of Game Day, as we continue on this Saturday night on KVNU.
Steven, stop dragging your feet. Don't you give me that look. You've had a bad attitude all day. Now, look, I know you'd rather be with your friends right now, but this has to be done, and either you start cooperating or I'm going to start taking things away from you. And I think you know what that means, don't you, Steven?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Okay.
Watch it.
Bigger isn't always better. At Castalite, you'll choose from a huge selection of pavers and receive help from experts. You'll see just how easy it is to do it yourself. For brick, block, rock, paver, and tile, go where the pros go. Online at Castalite.com.
West Point Dairy Products at Hiram is hiring. West Point Dairy Products has been manufacturing high-quality butter for over 25 years in Cache Valley. They're currently expanding and want you on their growing team. West Point Dairy Products offers competitive wages for entry-level positions starting at $18 per hour, full benefit packages, double time on Sundays, a $2,000 sign-on bonus, and tremendous opportunities for growth. For immediate consideration, call Express Employment Professionals at 435-213-9595.
The Riverwoods Conference Center is the center in Cache Valley for business, entertainment, and special events. Whether you're hosting a large or small event, you have the choice of inside with all the new modern interior renovations or outside along the scenic banks of the beautiful Logan River. The Riverwoods is an ideal choice, offering seamless planning, easy catering coordination, and will make your event as professional or as beautiful as desired. To book your next event or for more info, visit theriverwoods.com or call 435-750-5151. We'll see you at the Riverwoods.
Hi, this is Ashley with LSS Insurance. Open enrollment for individual health insurance is November 1st through January 15th. Coverage through the marketplace is still available, with more tax credits making it even more affordable. We'll help you navigate the marketplace, understand your plan options, and complete enrollment and save big. Trying it on your own can be frustrating. Let us help. Call 752-9493. There's no cost to work with us. Having a local agent makes all the difference. Call 752-9493.
It's KVNU Game Day with more analysis and more previews of today's game with Al Lewis.
It is what it is. And in this time, we're all going to have to, deal with these situations. And it's really just a blessing to be able to play.
Yeah, both of these teams tonight, New Mexico and the Aggies, have only played one game since December 22nd. And, of course, Utah State lost to Air Force, and Nevada was the team that beat New Mexico in their conference opener that they played. So those are the only games these teams have played since Christmas as we go into it. In the USU New Mexico series, it's 29-12 for the Aggies, 10-9 in Albuquerque for the Aggies, 3-5 is the Aggies' record in the pit. There's a lot of teams that like to have that kind of percentage in the pit. And it's been 10-8 for Utah State since we joined the Mountain West Conference. The Aggies have won 3 in a row and 6 of the last 7 as they come into this, like we said, the first Mountain West game in the pit in 680 days for them. And I thought it would be interesting to check in with one of the players this week, and that was Max Scholga, before they took off for Albuquerque, and find out how he feels like everything is going right now towards this game and having this pause of the season after the loss to Air Force. I loved when you played the other night and you scored like you did. You said, I'm used to that. I mean, everybody was going, wow, Max, you have a great game and all that. I'm used to that. That's what you expect to do. If you get a playing time, you feel like you can do that kind of stuff for this team.
Yeah, of course, because that's what I've been doing my whole life, and plus I'm in the gym now even more than I was before. So if I get my minutes, I will get it done on defensive and offensive end. But I always focus primarily on defense, and then offense will flow out of that.
Is defense where you need to get better?
Yeah. I feel like I can get better in any way, offense and defense, but yeah, defense is what gets you on the court, and I love playing defense. I love locking up the best player, so I take pride in that.
And we're talking to Max Shulga, Utah State guard, swingman, wingman, whatever I guess you want to call him. It looks like you can fulfill a lot of roles for the team. Coach is giving you that chance every once in a while. So what about this team? You guys played so many games so fast, and all of a sudden this last little stretch, it seems like you've had a Christmas break, and then you play one game, and then you have more of a break. What is that like for basketball team players on this team? Is that frustrating a little bit to you guys at this point?
I wouldn't say frustrating, but it's unusual, like having a break this long, just in the middle of the season. It gets us out of rhythm kind of, but we try to stay connected in practice and treat days like it's game days. So yeah, we try to stay locked in throughout the whole break or whatever other problems we're going to have throughout the whole season. We just try to stay connected and work.
This whole COVID thing over these last 2 years has probably made it a little bit frustrating. I mean, but you guys went to Air Force last year, didn't struggle at all. You go to Air Force this year, and you lose that game. You're going to New Mexico, where you won easily when you played them in New Mexico, or played them in Lubbock, Texas last year, and now it's a brand new basketball team. So you have to be ready. I mean, this seems like it's a different year in the Mountain West than last year. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And we have basically a brand new team. Like, I would say a lot of people stayed, but a lot of new people came in. A whole new coaching staff came. So it was an adjustment, but every team has their struggles and stuff. So we just got to get through it, just stay together and keep going forward.
Well, you guys know you're not 1 for 19 shooting from three like you did at Air Force. That's not going to happen again for this team.
Yeah, nah. It was a one-time wonder type of game. Yeah, that never happens. I don't know what happened in that game.
It was unbelievable. So what has it been like then to regroup after that first game in conference? You guys regrouped after your first game of the regular season and got on a run. What has that been like? What would you say the team's going through right now as you get now where maybe you can start to play some more games?
I think we were a little bit frustrated after the game, but we had to leave it in the past quickly, because if you keep thinking about the past, that's not going to do anything good for the future. You just have to focus on what's next, on the next game, and just start from there.
Mm-hmm. What's the best thing about Max Shulga's game? What do you think you really add to the team? What do you do the best?
Hustle. I'm very much a team player, so extra passes, defense, and I can knock down the shot whenever my team needs to. I take my shots whenever I'm open and what coach thinks is a good shot for me. So yeah, but defense, that's what I do.
I think off the top of my head, I can't remember Max taking a shot against Air Force. We needed a confident guy shooting the ball to make a couple against them for sure. Okay, with about 2:40 left, Washington State leads Utah by 9 points at Salt Lake, 68-59. If you missed it, 79-49. San Diego State gave Colorado State their first loss. They ran away in the second half, blitzed them, beat them by 20. BYU's playing St. Mary's tonight on ESPN2. That's an 8 o'clock game. And there's no Wyoming-Fresno State game tonight, and there's no UNLV-Fresno State game tonight in our conference. And San Jose, who wasn't scheduled, now is playing Bethesda, trying to get back into it because they'll get back into conference play this week. So the Aggies try to get to 1-1 by beating New Mexico in this matchup tonight. 80 points, a key deal for both teams. The Aggies are 8-0 if they score 80. And New Mexico this year is, if they score 80, they're 6-1. If they don't score 80, they've lost every single game. This year they've been in that spot. They had a bunch of guys injured early and were out with health and also injury situations. Of course, the Aggies have, again, we had Bairstow out for a while, and we've had Bean ailing, and Brock Miller missed the one game. And, of course, we also sat out R.J. Idle-Rock in the one game. So we've had a little bit of that. But no COVID problems is what Coach said yesterday. I hope the testing today isn't any different on that. The Aggie team is still the best shooting team in 12 years. Half of their games have been at least 50%. They've got to get some confidence early, I really feel like, in this game. And Nevada, New Mexico was down 19 points in that game and brought it back to 5 and only lost by 9. So this is not, again, the New Mexico team we saw at all last year. And again, paced by two young guys whose dads were greats in the NBA, in Mashburn and House, that the Aggies have to stop. And we, of course, have Justin Bean. We need help for Justin. Let's hope other guys will get back and play their kind of games in this one coming up tonight. So CBS Sports Network will have it at 6 unless this game between Northern Iowa and Mississippi Valley, Mississippi State goes long in overtime. Then it'll be on their app, and then they'll get started with the TV as soon as they can, is the way they work out with that. After the game's over, we're back here to talk about it. So we'd love calls and text right after the game of the Aggies in New Mexico. So watch it on CBS Sports Network. As soon as the game's over, we'll be back on, and we should be able to get the coach and maybe a player after the game as well by Zoom from down there in the pit. So for Jalen Moore and our sponsors, Al Lewis pregame, John Russell and Jalen will join with me postgame. We look forward to the Aggies playing again tonight at New Mexico.
610 AM and 102 FM.
Best part of my day.
News Talk KVNU, Logan. Proud to be locally owned and operated by the Cache Valley Media